in the news and on LinkedIn, there's a lot of reportings about many e-commerce or pure digital companies are not going that well. Shopify has lost, 2/3 of their stock value. Daniel Wellington, Nelly, Boost, we're all hearing that they have to lay off people. The sales is not going as affected. Prior to the pandemic, give or take, there were numbers always describing that about 10% of all sales were e-commerce. During the pandemic, it was a lot of reporting about 15%. And now when you look at the reporting, we are coming back down towards the 10%. So Niklas, help us out. Why is this?
Yeah, it's of course a lot of reasons that happens at the same time. It's like the perfect storm. So one thing being post-pandemic that prior the consumer was restrained to their home and had to have to purchase online, and now it's open up so they can go back to stores again, which of course affects sales or the huge growth that we saw in e-commerce during the pandemic. Yeah. But there's also the effect that since investors see that e-commerce growth is declining, they're more reluctant to invest, and that they have higher requirements about profitability with e-commerce companies.
And before, maybe some companies didn't even have to make a plus; they got the investor money anyhow, and now they have to. Now they actually have to make money.
Yeah, and that's, at the other hand, of course, the things that happen post-pandemic, like the distribution issues with Asia, production issues, prices on fuel going up, so it's more expensive to have things shipped here, and also the war in Ukraine, of course, which makes the cost for the e-commerce companies go up at the same time as the requirements to be profitable on the other hand. So this is
and also that there are many new things like the cookie bans and so on, laws and settings in Apples and so on that actually makes it harder to reach end customers at least.
You have to pay more for customers and you have to pay more for the goods. So that's actually.
But then is this then affecting B2B commerce? So of course a general stagnation of economy will of course make big industrial companies or B2B companies also hold their wallets more clearly, so there will definitely be longer decision paths. But in all honesty, most companies doing B2B e-commerce, they are not investor backed. At least I haven't worked with them. They surely are, but they are not investor backed. So they are not affected by that, and they're often what they are trying to do is transform a very manual way of working into more efficient, more end user friendly way of working digital, which is still relevant despite all the factors you mentioned.
I agree. I think the cost for production will go up in B2B as well. But the benefits of going e-commerce is still there because it's a matter of transforming the process and organization. And I think that's still huge. Yeah. And also I think most B2B companies are profitable.
Yeah, and also if you think about this thing that we talked about, cookie policies and so on that you aren't allowed to do, in B2B e-commerce, often you don't have the same need to push ads towards an end customer. Oh, no. Of course, you're doing ad, but you're not as dependent as you are if you are Daniel Wellington and you all the time want to push out marketing for your products.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different sales process. So I think the cost of acquiring customers are actually going down in B2B because you can use some good tools in regard of B2C where you have to pay for ads, etc. So I think that might be.
So I would say in general, sure, a general decline in economy is affecting B2B e-commerce, but we don't so far see that it's at all the same as what we see in the news about B2C e-commerce. On the other hand, you could almost say that it is a bit positive. I mean, we were talking the other day and you had this actually turned out positive from one of your projects.
I think one thing is when there's change in the system that there also produces a lot of opportunities. One is to find good recruits, because when Klarna is laying off 700 developers or 700 staff, it's a good way to actually find good staff that weren't available previously. Yeah. So you can of course shift this up as an opportunity, and also the stagnation in the economy of course will drive companies that need to make things more efficient. So
which is what B2B e-commerce, which is what most industrial and B2B companies are trying to do when doing B2B e-commerce. They are trying to replace the phone calls and the emails with another way that actually costs them less money.
Yeah, so this might actually prove to be an opportunity for many B2B companies.
Yeah.
And if you have any ideas about the decline in economy or if you want to talk about B2B, so feel free to reach out to me or Helena. And thank you for watching.
And have a stellar Thursday.